Look, the Mets finally made their move. They got Steve Cohen in a room with Kyle Tucker. And honestly, this might be the most important meeting of their entire offseason. Because let me tell you something. When you bring ownership to sit down with a superstar, that's when you know things are getting serious. Here's what matters about this face-to-face. The Mets can finally explain their vision directly. They can look Tucker in the eye and tell him why last season went sideways, what they're building for the future, and most importantly, show him they're all in. That's the advantage Cohen gives them that Toronto simply doesn't have. The Blue Jays owner isn't showing up to these meetings, and in today's market, that personal touch from ownership matters more than people realize. Now let's talk about what it takes to actually land Tucker. Word is the Blue Jays are offering something longer term while the Mets and Dodgers are sitting around 3 or 4 years. And here's the brutal truth. If it's close, if it's basically a tie between offers, the Mets aren't winning that battle. We already saw what happened with Edwin Diaz when the Dodgers got involved. The Mets know this, which means they need to be thinking bigger. Should they push to 5 or 6 years? Tucker's 29 years old. Even with that broken hand last year, he still posted an .840 ops playing through it for over a month. Before last season, he'd accumulated 30 combined defensive runs, saved from 2021 through 2024. This is a legit 5-tool player who doesn't require an 8 or 9 year commitment to get into his mid-30s. That's the sweet spot right there. But here's where it gets interesting. Tucker isn't just about raw numbers. He's in the MVP conversation every single year. He's got a Gold Glove, a World Series ring, Silver Sluggers, All-Star appearances, the whole package. And get this, over the last 2 years, he's walked more than he's struck out. In this era of guys just swinging for the fences on every pitch, that's remarkable. It shows he's got an actual plan at the plate, not just hoping to get lucky. Some people are saying Cody Bellinger would be a better fit. I get the argument. Bellinger gives you defensive versatility, can play first base, multiple outfield spots. But here's my take. If the Mets had re-signed Pete Alonso, sure, maybe Bellinger makes more sense. But without Alonso, without Brandon Nimmo, they need pure offensive firepower. Tucker provides that in ways Bellinger just doesn't right now. Plus, Bellinger's numbers have a massive home road split. His OPS at Wrigley versus away was night and day last year. Yankee Stadium with that short porch in, right? Perfect for him. But Citi Field? I'm not convinced his offense translates as well there. Tucker feels like the safer bet for consistent production. The injury history is the only real concern. Missing time in 2024 with that misdiagnosed stress fracture in his shin definitely impacted his market. And playing through a broken hand hurt his numbers too. But look at what he did when healthy, 23 homers in less than half a season in 2024. That's elite production. Here's something people are missing about Tucker's impact. When the Cubs added him last year, they went from 12th in runs scored and 21st in home runs to 5th and 6th, respectively. He doesn't just contribute his own stats. He makes everyone around him better. That's what elite players do. And maybe most importantly for the Mets, Tucker doesn't need to be the guy. He's not asking to carry an entire franchise on his back. Well, guess what? The Mets already have their guys in Soto and Lindor. Tucker slots in perfectly as that third elite piece without the pressure of being the face of the franchise. This meeting matters because it shows intent. It shows the Mets are serious about winning now, not rebuilding or retooling or whatever other excuse teams use. They've got pieces in place. They need one more big move to put them over the top. Tucker on his 29th birthday getting a massive contract from the Mets. That's the kind of splash that changes everything. The Mets have had a frustrating winter so far. No huge monster deal, no statement signing. Landing Tucker changes that narrative instantly. It tells their fan base this team is going for it. It tells the rest of baseball that Steve Cohen isn't messing around anymore. Bottom line, if the Mets can get Tucker for 5 or 6 years at the right number, they have to do it. You don't pass up a perennial MVP candidate who's entering his prime years and fits perfectly into your lineup construction. This is their moment.